Energy vampires. Okay, now, um, there's loads of ways that the people that are around you that love you, quote, right, can take your energy. All right. Now you stop giving them this energy. You will see very, very quickly, okay, that they know they will start a fight with you, or they'll separate themselves from you, or get their energy some other way. They'll try and get it through argument. They'll try and get it through uh, criticism, whether it's valid from their side or not, towards whoever, right? But it's a way of stirring the pot in order to get their energy, to get your energy from you, from your battery, to theirs. Okay, so energy vampires are everywhere, and they are usually the people that are close to you. You know, because people that you don't really know. Just say if you see someone with piercing eyes and they're there staring at you, right? That's an energy vampire. Okay, because he's trying to scare you, to intimidate you in a way that's from a stranger, right? So he's there, he's trying to intimidate you, so he sees that you're afraid, and then, no, I know this because I've done it, right? And so I'm up here like holier than thou, but you know that's the part of kind of like growing, and you kind of go up, and then you start seeing things, and you see things in yourself, and then you can learn certain things. Most people can't learn anything because they wouldn't even know what you're talking about, simply because they're so indoctrinated by the system that we live in that they think that growing is just earning more money, right? Or getting more possessions, you know, or the latest shoes or handbag, or going out and having a good time, which is a lie, by the way. Anyway, so energy vampires are interesting because, like I said, they're the people that are closest to you. They will drain you the most. Now, I'll give you a little example of this. Have you ever had the energy vampire making the phone call? All right, the friend, the loved one that cares, right? Making the phone call, and the phone call is not really about anything practical. It's not really about anything that is useful. It's just, and you know inside your own depths, right? And you're there, and you're looking. I don't have this anymore because I cut these people out to a certain point. I knew what was going on, right? And then you see the name on the phone, and it's like all of a sudden your battery, right, your battery. You see the name illuminated on the phone, and the battery is in the phone illuminating the phone, right? And then your battery level, you see the name, and then all of a sudden your battery starts to kind of like vibrate a little bit. It's like, oh no, I might have to give some energy away. So you kind of see the name on the phone, and then it's like, oh no, even the thought of it is sinking your battery. It's like, ooh. And you see the name, but then you're kind of like, then you can be stuck into like performance mode, and it's like, but that's a friend, right? And it's like, no, it ain't. It's an energy vampire ready to take your energy through the wireless system, right? So they're kind of like, you know, like they're ready. Like, oh, I need a boost here. You know, I need a boost. I need to charge myself up. You know, and if you're really dumb, you'll answer the phone, and then you're trapped. And then 3 minutes into the phone call, you're going, why, please, can I please go back in time and change my decision? Can I please change it? Can I please change it? My God. And you're there, and all of a sudden the blood is nearly coming out of your face. It's heading down, and it's like, and the energy is going low, and you're there, and you're, really? Oh, yeah, yeah. And the fake laugh and all the rest of it. And you can't wait to get off that fucking phone, dude. You can't wait to get off it because your energy is going down. And that vampire on the other end of the line, you know, a loved one, a carer. I call these people the Care Bears. You know, it's like, you know, have you ever seen that picture of the Care Bears where the bears are like sliding down the rainbow? You know, like, woohoo! You know, so these Care Bears, like, oh, why care? You know, yeah, right, yeah. As they're plugging their lead in, trying to drain a bit of energy across into their empty, soulless, pathetic carcass. Anyway, so that's what awareness is. Awareness is when you realize that that's what's happening, that, you know, that is an exchange of energy, you know, and they're robbing your energy from you. Everyone's doing this to a certain point, okay? And there's loads of ways that the energy vampire can take your energy. One of them is being upset about things that are not even worth being upset about. And they're there and they can be gloomy. I've done this. I do this still, right? So, like, but that's the thing about awareness. You're going to be aware of what's going on, right? So, glum and like, you know, oh, my problems. Yeah, your problems, yeah. So metaphorically, fuck your problems. Fuck you. Take your problems and get the fuck out. Fuck off. All right, because they're not problems for a start at all. It's just a way of taking energy in some way to keep the false ego self that needs that energy to survive, right? So, like, so these Care Bears, they know exactly how to take your energy and to drain it as much as they can. Like, they won't kill you, but they'll take as much as they can, and then when the phone call, just say, is over, the phone call analogy, then they're charged up, all right, and then after the phone call's gone, and you're kind of like, why did I answer the phone? I knew what was coming, but yet I answered it like an idiot. I thought it'd be different. You know, so I know sometimes I go on about, you know, the loved ones, the ones that care, the ones that love. I love you. Ah. Yeah, you fucking devil. You know, like I said before, and I say this all the time, no one cares for anyone. No one gives a shit about anyone. We're too egocentric to care about anybody else, right? We are too worried about whether this three-dimensional carcass is going to extend itself into the future. We can't care for anyone. Can't, not possible. Unless, there's always a caveat with it, unless we can start to try and raise our vibration to outside the ego, then maybe there's a possibility, because, you know, these things, these words and terms do exist for a reason. They exist because people have experienced these states, right? So energy vampires is a weird one. I was just dropping my daughter down to work, you know, and what sparked it a tiny bit was her gloom with me, right? So she's sitting there in the seat and I'm driving. Now, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I've got to try and do the best that I can with her. I'm not perfect, so I'm making mistakes as well with her and stuff like that. But I can feel her energy. She's worrying about something. She's worrying and she's kind of like gloomy a little bit. And, you know, so I went to hold her hand a little bit and she's there and she's pulling away and she's kind of like a little bit, you know, defensive and all the rest of it. She's not always like that, but in that moment, I could see that she's going through that kind of like, you know, like energy clashing with itself, fighting with itself, kind of like, you know, that's what we're doing. We're kind of like two magnets that are kind of like that, and we're at war with our own being. And that's the way the system wants us as well. It doesn't want us to be free and independent. It doesn't want us to be. It wants us to be dependent on other people. It wants us to be, you know, enslaved in any way. There's loads of ways to be enslaved. It's not just about driving around, you know, or traveling around, you know, whatever. That's an element of it. But there's so many ways to be enslaved, and the world out there will help you into your prison cell, dude. These loved ones will help you straight into that prison cell, and they'll lock the door with a smile. Okay, and that's what they do, because they have to do it simply because they have no awareness, they have no accountability, they have no inkling of even what's going on. They think they're not slaves. They think they're free. The best way to enslave anyone is to make them think that they're free. They're not free. No one, very few people are free. Very, very few people are free. Very, very, very few. And when you get out of it a tiny bit, like I've explained in other videos, when you get out of it a tiny bit, even if it's 1 second of the month, right? Just say, in that moment, you know that you're a prisoner, that your whole life has been a prisoner. Right, but if you don't have that, then you have no you have no way of kind of like balancing it out and looking at it from a different view. You have no idea. So the energy vampires is a weird one. Once you start seeing it, then you can start avoiding people in the correct way. You can start staying away from them. You can start, not from an egotistical standpoint of kind of like, oh, I'm better than you. No, you just stay away from people, because when you go into the zoo, you don't try and take the bars away, right? You don't try and do that. You don't try and exchange energies with the animals in the zoo, right? The bars are there for a reason. The plexiglass is there for a reason, right? Because you don't want to be in the same proximity as the zoo animals, because the zoo animals are dangerous. They're fucking dangerous, okay? And they will take what you have, right? So it's the same with human beings. When you start being aware of that, you can start to pinpoint who and what is not draining your energy, not taking your energy, not taking your life force, whatever way you want to call it, right? And then you can start dissipating your own energy the way that you want. That's why I like doing these videos, because it's a way of me speaking from myself. And I've like, another thing that shot into my system the other day was, for the first time, one of the first times in my life, I feel like a real man. I feel like more of a man, not even a real man, more of a man, because I'm doing and sacrificing certain things in order to do that, you know, and speaking from my heart. Even if it's wrong at some points, I can backtrack later on and go, hey, I was wrong about that. That's fine, right? But I'm speaking from here, off the cuff, from whatever it is that I am, outward, right? So I feel like a man. So I don't really want to engage with people or have anything to do with people that are engaged in this low activity of just taking and draining someone else's energy because they want to keep their ego self in place and alive in the future. I don't want to be a part of that, you know, because as far as I'm concerned, everyone's ego can go and fuck themselves, okay? Whether it's refined or whether it's, you know, bloated beyond belief, you know, and there's loads of different ways. But the energy vampire is pretty much nearly everyone. Everyone will drain your energy. Why do you think people are going onto the Paul and Slave show? Mostly, it's to take the energy reserves from Paul. That's what we're doing when we go there. You know, unless you have some awareness of what's going on, we are magnetically going there because Paul has the spirit of truth shining through him, right? He's not an ego identity. He has, you know, so he's playing acting performances within the spirit of truth. So this spirit of truth is shining through him in a very strong way, okay? And then he's mimicking everyone else by doing acting performances, but not identifying with the acting performances. We're identifying with the acting performances, and we're getting stuck in different roles. But he's doing it consciously and mimicking it out to everyone else, if you can see it, right? So the energy vampire is something to look out for, with everyone, especially people that are close to you. These people that care, the ones that love you, the ones that are looking out for you, like the government. They're out there keeping us safe, right? Taking our resources, taking our energy, taking our attention, antenna. That's what they're doing, all right? Now, you can't feel like, quote unquote, a real man or woman if you are a slave. It's not about getting away with anything. It's about, while you're alive, do you want to feel like you are powerful in the right way? Because everyone wants power. Everyone's kind of like, no, I don't want any power. Look, real power is no power at all. But at the same time, you get real power when you have no power at all, because real power is your own individual power outside of the ego, which is not draining the battery. Okay, so be careful with the people that you know. The people that are closest to you are the people that can do you the worst and most damage, especially if they're not. Keith, the wizard, El Paro, on Paul and Slave Show, has a great saying, and it's either, let me just try and get it right. Either you stand with me or you stand against me. Something like that. You know, and you want to be careful of the people that you hang around with, and that you know that they're not really standing with you, because what they're standing with their own kind of like ego, and that is because the whole system plays to everyone's ego. To women, it plays to what you physically look like, makeup, handbags, shoes, all that stupid shit, right? Men, it plays to kind of like the false warrior, the false this, that, and the other, and the false strength nonsense, and you know. But it doesn't want people to be. Only two people that are unified on their own can exist together. Okay, you can't exist together with someone who is a fraction and a fraction and a fraction. They have to exist as wholes on each side, and then they can come together and they can stand together, right? So you can't do that with people that have their own egotistical agenda. You can't do that. You're fighting against, it's like fighting against the stream. You can't do it. It's impossible, right? So be careful of the people that you have in your life, because even if it's your children or your parents, you know, like, this is going to go long, this video, and it's fine, because it's what it needs to be, right? So, and there's a good few people in my life now that I wouldn't even talk to. That's only happened over the last month or so in my own system. I go, no, I never want to talk to this person again. This man, this woman, whatever. I'd never want to talk to them again. And I'm not going to name them specifically, but even if it's your mother, father, relatives, or even your own daughter or son, if they are doing things that is against what is which is really for your benefit, if they're going to play against you, cut them out and have nothing to do with them. Sometimes you have to have something to do with them because they could be at a young age, right? But if they're not going to walk with you and understand where you're coming from, they're a waste of time, and they're energy vampires, and you're going to be fighting against the stream with them all the time. You can give them a bit of the benefit of the doubt, but you have to go the way that they want to go. All right, so like, there's certain people now that are nothing to me. They're no one to me. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to name, but it's just kind of like, I know that I don't want to talk to any of them again. And I don't feel anything about it at all. Nothing. It's just like, no, it's nothing to do with me. I wasted a lot of my time with a lot of these people thinking, but I had my own agenda at the same time as well. My agenda was to try and get energy from them, right? So now I don't want anything to do with anyone, pretty much, apart from my daughter, and do the best that I can until she's grown up, and then she's doing her own thing, whatever, you know. She's doing her own thing now, you know. But what it really comes down to is that you got to be perfectly okay to be on your own, just on your own. But you're never really on your own either, by the way. That's just like a figment of kind of like on your own without other human beings, you know. So it's kind of like you're alone with the truth, if we can connect with it, or we can get out of the way so we can come through, right? So you've got to be completely okay with just being alone and being no one. Nothing, no one. And you have to be okay with everyone disowning you, everyone walking away from you, everyone not liking you and disagreeing with you, and still you stand. Or sit down in my case, right? And you still stand. Because you realize at some point that these crutches of other people that were around you through your life are anti-life. They are anti-life because you got to stand on your own with the truth, whatever it may be, and try and have it contact you in some way, whatever. And you're on your own, and that's it. So even going on the Paul and Slave show and then doing these videos and stuff like that is what I needed, right? To try and get to different levels of understanding this, of understanding that It is the Christed story. You think that the Christed being from Scripture 2,000 years ago was not just a man the same as anybody else? Of course he was, but he was a high level, right? Greater things than me you will do also. Okay? That's not the only Son of God. That's a Son of God, as we all are, if we can reach levels where we get our ego out of the way. Okay? Another little bit of bullshit they done on everyone. You know, God's only Son. I mean, I don't care even if people comment down there and say, oh, not God's only Son. This is ridiculous, man. Okay? So you're on your own with the Spirit of truth, and you have to be perfectly okay with that. You know, and all the hardships that I've had, I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful for being abandoned. I'm so grateful for people not wanting anything to do with me. I'm so grateful for learning things in the reverse. You know, I went into town yesterday in Dublin city centre, just walked around for the day, and I put myself in awkward situations with loads of different people by asking stupid questions and making myself look stupid. This isn't very hard, which is pretty easy, by the way, right? And allowing myself to get embarrassed and being aware and checking my emotions afterwards. Now, I do that sometimes, you know. So energy vampires, and you've got to be completely all right with being on your own. Completely. That's where I've had the most fun. That's real fun, dude. That's real fun when you can sit down on your own in the dark, even if it's cold, and you're okay. You don't need anyone. I'm not saying that you don't like a little bit of company and stuff like that. I do. It's nice, you know, but you're there on your own. You know that you're on the right road. I know I'm on the right road. I know that. So I'm grateful for all the hardships, like I said, all the hardships, all the betrayals, all the, you know, judgments from other people, putting you down, playing games with you. And I've done it too as well. I'm not exempt from it, right? But I'm so grateful for all of that because it's put me on the right road. I know I'm on the right road. I feel it in the quickening that I'm on the right road, because it's the harder road, but it's the road where I'm beginning to be what I need to be. And there's nothing more beautiful than that, because it's not dependent on the outside. It's not dependent on friends, lovers, family, whatever. It's not dependent on that. It's completely independent. It's independent of all of that, and I feel it. I feel that is the way to go, for me anyway, through experimentation and looking at things in a way that is backward, but to make it more clearer, you know. So I'm grateful that I'm on my own. I'm grateful that I feel like, you know, trying to channel the best that I can the Spirit of truth to work through me, and have nothing to do with the human ego, which is very clever, which is very, very, very deceiving, and it will, like in the Christed story, they will all abandon. In the end, they will all scatter. Boom. They'll all scatter away. And then you'll be left. And then at some point, everyone's going to be on their own, right? People can be very kind of like, oh, I have this and I have that. It's all going, dude. All the people that you think that are supporting you, they're going to go. They're going to go. And you will be standing there without your acting performance, and then what are you going to do? You're going to be older. They're all going to go away. They're going to, whatever. You know, the acting performance has to stop, right? So it's nice to know through a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble and a lot of pain that it feels that it's on the right track. On the right track of kind of like, I'm not going to put my time and energy anymore into anyone. Anyone. I don't care who it is. You know, I don't care if everyone abandons me. Don't want to care. It's me and the Creator, whatever that may be. All right, and that's where I'm going to look. And as for the energy vampires, just become aware of it. Become aware that you don't even like these people, that they're just druggies looking to get syringed. You know, that's it. Walk away from everyone. Let them go. Let everyone go. They're going to go somewhere else anyway at some point anyway and get their fix somewhere else until they've drained all that, and then they'll hopscotch onto the next thing. Okay? And adios.